So, this is basically the immune system. Just kidding. There's more to the immune system than you think. There's different types of organs, cells, processes, and even disorders. We'll be condensing all this information as much as we can so you guys can take quality notes. So buckle your pants, because this is the immune system in 10 minutes or something. The immune system is made up of a network of cells, tissues, and organs that work together to protect the body. As mentioned earlier, there are several organs that assist the immune system. There's even 2 types of defenses that your body has for protection and a whole array of immune disorders. We'll start with the organs. There are key primary lymphoid organs. There's the thymus, which is a lymphoid organ situated in the neck of vertebrates that produces T cells for the immune system. Fun fact, it gets smaller at the approach of puberty. Next is the bone marrow, which is a soft, fatty substance in the cavities of bones where blood cells are produced. Then we have the secondary lymphatic tissues. There's the spleen, tonsils, lymph vessels, lymph nodes, adenoids, skin, and the liver. The spleen is an abdominal organ involved in the production and removal of blood cells in most vertebrates and forming part of the immune system. The tonsils are 2 small masses of lymphoid tissue in the throat. They contain B cells and produce antibodies. The lymph vessels are thin-walled valve structures that carry lymph, which is a liquid containing white blood cells. Lymph nodes are small bean-shaped glands carrying lymph fluid, nutrients, and waste between tissues and the bloodstream. Adenoids are mass of soft tissue behind the nasal cavity made of lymphoid tissue. And the skin, well, if you don't know what that is, I'm truly concerned for you. The liver, which is the largest organ in the body, sits on the right side of the belly. It detoxifies chemicals and metabolizes drugs. It also secretes bile and proteins important for blood clotting and more. Now we have the immune cells. There are leukocytes, which are white blood cells, and they act like independent single-celled organisms. There are innate leukocytes, which are phagocytes, mast cells, eosinophils, basophils, and natural killer cells. There are also lymphocytes, which are types of white blood cells that can turn into B or T cells. And lastly, the lymphatic system, which is part of the circulatory system, and it transports leukocytes through the body. And finally, we have how the immune system actually works. So the first line of defense of your body is the skin. So if a pathogen enters through the skin, an inflammatory response will occur. There's also another line of defense called humoral immunity, which includes your saliva, your stomach acids, and more body fluids that contain B lymphocytes. Your immune system can also release chemicals and raise your body temperature to slow and stop pathogen growth and increase your heart rate for faster leukocyte travel. This is called a fever. Types of immunity. There's cell-mediated immunity, where T cells recognize infected cells from antigens. Some destroy these infected cells, and some are memory cells that can produce cytotoxic T cells. And helper T cells also release cytokines to recruit natural killer cells and phagocytes. And lastly, we have active and passive immunity. There's a natural way and an artificial way to acquire active immunity. The natural way is to be exposed to live pathogen, and if your body survives it, then you gain the immunity. The artificial way is to be exposed to vaccines, which would be weak or dead pathogens, and your body would still create the same immunological memory. Finally, there's the passive immunity, which is short-term immunity from antibodies gained from another person or animal. In our case, we would gain it in the last 3 months of pregnancy, where the placenta would give it to the baby. And there's also breastfeeding, because there are antibodies in the breast milk. Oh, I almost forgot. There are also diseases that happen with the immune system. An autoimmune disease is when your immune system cannot tell the difference between the healthy cells and the harmful cells in your body. It's when the immune system creates antibodies that target the body's tissue and it starts attacking you instead of, the harmful cells. I'll give a few examples. There's Addison's disease, which is characterized by adrenal hormone insufficiency. Addison's disease can lead to muscle weakness and fatigue, weight loss, low blood pressure, low blood sugar, nausea, irritability, and depression. There's also celiac disease, where it's a reaction to gluten found in wheat, rye, barley, and it causes damage to the lining of the small intestine. There's a bunch of these autoimmune diseases. There's Graves' disease, Hashimoto's disease, inflammatory bowel disease, multiple sclerosis, reactive arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, and a lot more. And there's also immunodeficiency, where it's a failure of the immune system to protect the body adequately from infection due to the absence or insufficiency of some component, process, or substance. I'll give a few examples such as B-cell deficiencies, such as transient hypogammaglobulinemia of infancy, THI. There's T-cell and combined T and B-cell deficiencies, such as severe combined immunodeficiency, Catch-22 syndrome, chronic mucocutaneous candidiasis, there's IPEX, there's Wiskott-Aldrich syndrome, and for phagocyte deficiencies, there's chronic granulomatous disease, there's cyclic neutropenia, hyper-IgE syndrome, leukocyte adhesion deficiency.
When life gets busy, there are days when your immune system wants some support. Try Airborne. Each serving contains 13 vitamins, minerals, and herbs, including zinc, echinacea, ginger, and a blast of vitamin C. It's the easy, great-tasting way to help support your immune system. Airborne, in effervescent chewables, and now a new formula in gummies.
The probiotic strains in Inner Health Immune Booster for kids have been clinically shown to reduce the frequency and severity of cold and flu symptoms and days away from childcare and school. Have your kids had their inner health today?